it's Nina. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm here with a fun card to share with you featuring the Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers as well as the Zig Kuretake Starry Nights Metallic Watercolor Set. These are great watercoloring products which are really fun to use together to create gorgeous pieces of art. I'm going to be using them, however, today to create a Starry Night scene for this adorable little mouse that is part of the Avery L. Storybook stamp set. To get started, I'm going to be scribbling some color onto my watercolor paper. Now, you probably think this is super haphazard. Nina, you're going out of control with all of your scribbles. Well, no, I'm not. I am using my zigs to be able to create a scribbly sky on purpose. This is not only going to allow me to, of course, blend the colors together to get a more smoother look than what I've got right now, but the scribbles are going to give me texture for my sky, and you're going to see why in a little bit, how we achieve that. After I've scribbled on the paper with my markers, I'm blending it out with a paintbrush. This is just a mop brush, but you can use whatever larger brush you prefer. I would recommend using a fairly large brush because, of course, this is a background, so using a small brush will take a lot of time and a lot more water. I'm going to go ahead and pounce this around and blend things together, and you can see here that this is really blending the colors together quite a bit, so there's not really a lot of delineation between the two different colors that I used. Again, this is on purpose. I'm doing this to create some really fantastic effects that will be visible later on because of what we're doing right now. I'm adding more scribbles of color onto my paper and I'm blending them back out with my water. I'm working in layers again because of what we're going to be doing later on. Later on, we're going to be adding water droplets to this card. And the water droplets are going to allow us to have the visible textures that we created underneath each of these layers to be able to show through those water splatters, and you'll see that later on in just a short bit. For a third layer, I'm adding some darker blue and some purple. I chose purple because I thought it would match the color tones that I'm using for this card, and I'll just go ahead and keep scribbling on the color until I have everything to the way I like it. I'm going to go ahead and blend this out again, and again, I'm just blending these all together. I'm letting those colors really meld into each other and really create a very almost flat looking color. Alright, so now comes the magic. I am taking my distress sprayer and I'm creating just a bunch of water droplets all over this panel. I mean, I am literally covering it with water, but not solid water. I am adding droplets. And as I lift those droplets off, you can see how gorgeous of a texture this creates to our sky. This looks really fantastic. Don't you think? You can see all of the shoots of different color, and because we created those scribbles, it gave us texture. Alright, so to get started on the rest of the scene, I am taking the Storybook stamp set and I've stamped down one of the little mouse images. There are a bunch of little animals included in this stamp set. I adore the mouse. I think he's really cute, but you could definitely use any of the other critters that are included in this set. I'm going to be coloring this little mouse in grays. You could, of course, color him in whatever color you prefer. You could use browns or other neutral colors. I chose grays because I'm going to have a bunch of other different colors in this scene, so I didn't want everything to be too competing and I wanted things to be able to match, and I knew I wanted to color the mountains that I was adding into this scene with grays. So I figured I'd add the grays in for the mouse. I could have used browns like I said again, but I really felt that the grays were going to match a whole lot better and really make this card more cohesive. So I'm going to cut him out with some scissors, and then I'll go ahead and take this snow-capped mountain die set. This is from Mama Elephant. And I love how you can use this to create adorable little mountain scenes. I'm using also the snow caps, and I'm going to add those on top later on, but you could also use this without the snow caps. I've added a little bit of color onto the left-hand side of each of these little mountains, and I'm going to go ahead and fade that out with some water. I'm just using a little bit of water and just quickly shading this. I'm really not being too detailed because this is just a supporting element to my scene. So it's not going to need a lot of detail because it's going to be in the background. However, like I did for the sky, I'm going to go ahead and add layers to this mountain. I'm doing a second coat of that same gray color and I'm going to fade that out with my water. This is going to give my mountain more depth, and I'm going to add the same water droplets that I did for the sky. This is also going to give my mountain texture, and this is going to help it have a little bit more of a rugged look and really let it have some really interesting depth. Alright, now for a third layer, I'm taking a third layer of that same gray and I'm blending it out with a lighter color. And then I'm going to take my water brush and I'm going to go ahead and blend that out just a little bit. Now to add a little bit of interest to this mountain scene, because of course, what's a mountain without some pine trees? I'm going to go ahead and take some of the green markers that I have from my zigs, and I'm going to create triangles to create my little pine trees. Again, because this is a background, I don't want this to be too detailed because it's going to distract from the rest of my card. So I'm just going to use that triangle shape to help give the appearance of a tree. It's going to look like a tree and it's going to make you think it's a tree, but it's really just a triangle. But I love how the mind automatically fills in the details just because when the mind sees something with the right colors, the right shape, it automatically fills in the missing details. I love when we can do that with impressionistic kind of coloring. So for the snow caps, I'm just adding a little bit of gray shading, and then for the grass, I'm going to go ahead and just blend some green colors together. Again, I'm using layers, so I'm going to use multiple layers of green. I'm going to blend them together to help give my grass texture. You can see here I'm adding some darker green on top of the wash that I already created. I'll go ahead and blend that out, and I'll keep doing that until I have a bunch of texture on this grass built up to be able to give me a little bit more of a realistic looking grass, but yet not too detailed because again, I don't want to distract from the rest of everything else that's going on. So I'll go ahead and add some water splatters just to give that a little bit more texture, and I'll go ahead and dry that. And now I'm coming back to those trees, and I'm adding a lighter green to the green that I already put down, which was darker. Now that sounds really silly, doesn't it? Adding a lighter green on top of a darker one, but it works. I used this to be able to create some lighter colors into my trees, but that darker base helped give my trees dimension off of my mountains, which really gave them a little bit of separation and helped them stand off a lot better than if I had used a lighter color and tried to build up color from there. For me, this worked really well, and I think it turned out fabulous, but you could, of course, do it differently. I'm die cutting everything using some stitched rectangle dies from Simon's Stamp, and this is just going to help finish off the panels a little bit. But you could, of course, use a trimmer or other dies to be able to do the same type of effect. I'm going to add my sentiment onto my sky. I'm going to be heat embossing this, and I'm going to use some Simon's Stamp embossing ink. My sentiment is from W+9. This is the Wishing You stamp set, I believe. I love all the really cute sentiments that are in this stamp set. I'm a very picky sentiment person. I like to have certain sentiments, and then I always look for really fantastic sentiments, ones that are really special. And this stamp set from W+9 is one of those really special stamp sets. I love all of the different sentiments that are included in it, and I think they're really great for all sorts of different types of cards. Now, of course, what is a starry night scene without some stars? So I'm adding those down, which are from the Storybook stamp set, and I'm just going to go ahead and add those on with some waterproof ink. This is from Simon's Stamp as well. And now I'm going to add some shimmer and shine to these adorable little stars using the Gonzai Tombi Metallic Watercolor Paint Set. This set has so many gorgeous golds in it, and it has a white gold, champagne gold, rose gold, so many gorgeous colors. And I used a few of them here onto these stars, and they create such gorgeous shimmer. It's even more beautiful in real life than it looks on camera. To finish things off, I'm just adding a little bit of white dots to create some teeny tiny stars onto my scene. And I attached my mouse down onto my panel, and then I put my panel onto some fog cardstock from Simon's Stamp, and that finished off the entire card. So I hope you've enjoyed and got some inspiration on using your Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section below, and head on over to the Simon's Stamp blog where you can get more information on this card, including still pictures and products used. You can find us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and YouTube, as well as our blog. Subscribe to this YouTube channel for more inspiration, and thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.